Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are continuing to complete our hummingbird painting, and this is the final layer of our painting. During the final stages of our painting, I like to use contrast as one of my design principles to complete the painting. This is where I redefine the outlines where it became a bit blurry, and I add the final details. It's a detail layer to the painting. This is also where I tend to switch to smaller brushes to refine areas like the beak, the eye, to add the very final highlight in the eye to give it that glint of light, and just to playfully bring more of the exciting bits into the painting. This is usually the part where most people that get into painting are rushing to get to, the fun part where we add beautiful highlights and interesting details to the painting. But before all the groundwork is done and the clarity is achieved and the emphasis is placed, these small details, if placed too soon, can all be lost. So this is another way to remind yourself when you are setting goals in life, not to just rush ahead to the destination, but to enjoy the journey and to be mindful of the small steps you take to make progress with your life goals, with your art goals, and to achieve them in bite sizes and not to rush ahead. That's when we can get overwhelmed and feel like the process is demanding too much from us, when we are biting off too much to chew, so to speak. So while I'm using my titanium white yet again to bring more contrast, you can see I'm not blending um, or covering up everything in the background, but I am bringing a crisp clarity to this line where the hummingbird and the background meets. And as I continue to bring this beautiful definition and emphasis, contrast to my painting, I would like to share a few last words about the hummingbird with you. The hummingbird is one of the most fascinating birds because of its ability to move its body swiftly, change direction quickly and smoothly, seemingly gliding from one place to another. By affinity with this power animal, you can be encouraged to use or develop a similar skill. When the hummingbird shows up in your life, it may be an invitation to flex your path, perhaps even bending backwards or forwards in order to accommodate life's circumstances. You may be required to adapt to a situation that is a bit more demanding than usual. The wisdom carried by this spirit animal emphasizes flexibility and lightness to your approach to the unexpected. Now, it's during this phase where the heavens opened up and it really started pouring to rain, and we realized soon that this is a losing battle because our canvases were getting so wet that the fresh layer of paint was literally just washing off our canvas. So I guess the sense of humor in this, after reading this last little paragraph, is like the hummingbird was saying to us, you may be required to adapt to a situation that is a bit more demanding than usual. So at this moment, everyone was just so understanding and applying the wisdom that these creative coaching situations is bringing to us. And life literally handed us an experience where we could apply instantly what we brought to the workshop. So again, everybody that attended, I applaud you for your beautiful attitude and for participating even on other levels, even when we couldn't paint anymore. I was just so proud of everyone And I'm really looking forward to see what you guys are doing with your little hummingbird paintings at home. But even if you don't complete it, it's this a whole experience that was so uniquely different and beautiful, and I'm very grateful that I had this experience. Let me just see what I'm gonna do now. Rinsing off my brush and just really looking at the detail as it's coming forward on my canvas. It's such a cute, bright little guy. I'm having a lot of fun painting him. So while I'm deciding, um, I think I'm just putting out some black paint here. Yes, so I'm putting out some black paint because I feel it's time to define those final details like the beak and the eye. This is just my lamp black, and I'm going to dilute it a little bit with water and my script liner, which is a number 1 round brush. And then I'm just going to work on these line details of the hummingbird that will help to define and separate small areas. I'm placing the eye here, and I realized after putting it in that I diluted my paint too much and the eye is a little bit too low for me. So the advantage is if your paint is still wet and the underneath layers are dry, then you can just, lift it up with a paper towel like I'm doing now. And then I judged correctly where I want the little eye, and I tried again. The hummingbird's eye is really tiny. It's a tiny bird. It's one of the smallest birds on the planet. And you'll see me right at the end, I'll just put a little white reflective spot in this eye zone. Right, so let me share the last few paragraphs of the hummingbird while I'm doing these details. Don't be deceived by the size of the spirit animal. Even if the hummingbird is one of the smallest birds, it can travel great distances. Those who've had this bird as a totem are characterized by their resiliency and their ability to fly great distances tirelessly. The hummingbird's graceful and quick motions are considered a symbol of accomplishing your goals quickly and effectively. While the hummingbird may be small, it brings the message that even small things can have great power. They are fierce in protecting what is theirs and will fight off bigger birds like crows, even as big as eagles. So this little bird is also fierce in protecting what is his. So that is just showing that in life, if we look at this metaphorically, we shouldn't look at the size of our problems and situations. We must recognize that with tenacity and a strong willpower, a lot of things can be accomplished and overcome, even big things that feels fierce and strong, and that might be too strong for us or too big for us. It's not the size that matters, it's the spirit. And if we draw our strength from there, anything is possible. The hummingbirds ask you not to judge something by its size. Even the smallest idea can have great power. What might you have overlooked? So that's a great question. Sometimes small things or events happen to us and we minimize it even more by saying, oh, that wasn't really important. But sometimes it's those moments of inspiration that handed you a solution to a problem or a challenge that you are facing, and it can give you the key to claim back your power and to rise above it, and to see that you're resilient and you are able to transform any situation that is negative or impacting you in a way that you feel it needs to evolve or change. The hummingbird moves quickly here and there and everywhere. This frequent and fast movement has been symbolic of freedom. If Hummingbird shows up in your dreams, it may be asking you to see if your freedom is being caged somewhere in your life. So this is usually where I ask people, to what situations, people, or problems, received challenges do you give your personal power away? Where do you play more of a victim, or you are depending on others around you for acknowledgement, affirmation, approval? Where can you learn to trust yourself a little bit more and allow yourself to shine, allow a lightness of being? Be not scared to be colorful and vibrant, to be more present and joyful, to seek the sweetness of life, and allow your inner light to reflect outwards. I'm just continuing here to play with my small detail brush and just using small dab marks to indicate those small little feathers that is found around the head and chest area of the hummingbird. One of the little facts that I read about the hummingbird is that it has an incredible amount of feathers, albeit tiny ones, and this is why each of them has this iridescent light reflective ability that is just so beautiful to behold. Now, not all hummingbirds are this colorful. Some of them are drab and brown, but it's usually the males that have a chest area or a part on their wings that is usually quite iridescent in contrast. I'm just mixing different tints and tones of this color by adding either the pearl white or the titanium white, or mixing some of these shades together to create subtle shifts in hue and in chroma, so that we have some variety and an interesting show of colors on this area of the hummingbird. So I've provided a link in the description of this video to some of the material that I was sharing. It is from a website called Spirit Animal Info, and I love using their website because it just gives me such interesting symbolic meaning that can be used metaphorically to inspire us as we paint and as we contemplate our lives, and where we can draw more meaning and find more purpose in all aspects of our lives. I'm just using a pure cad red here to just add another layer of this potent color on the little neck and chest area of our hummingbird. So if you guys like what you see and you would like to join us for a painting in the park experience, usually a beautiful sunny picnic day, then please check out my Quicket profile. I will provide a link in the description. Our next painting in the park event will happen on Mother's Day. It's the 8th of May, and we will be painting the cherry blossoms. I feel that is quite appropriate for Mother's Day, but other than that, the cherry blossoms or plum blossoms is also considered a symbol of resilience, simply because this small dainty little flower blooms at a high contrast time in the seasons. It is the end of winter, and these small beautiful pink blossoms break through the ice, announcing the arrival of spring. So we're going to be playing with those plum blossoms in our next painting in the park. And we keep our events small for a reason, because it's a therapeutic process. We don't want 500 people there. Um, I prefer to work with maximum 12 people, between me and my husband, who's also a creatively fit coach. um, I feel more than that, the people would get lost in the process. So there's a reason why these particular events stay small. Also, it's just supportive. If people can connect and begin to trust one another during this process, we find that we get best results that way. So do check out my links, and you're also welcome to join my creative private art group on Facebook, The Creative Heart. I share a lot of free content there and encouragement in projects, so check it out. Also remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so that you get notified when I upload new videos. Currently I'm busy with my art journal and some collaging methods that I'm exploring our trip to Bali, so check that out as well. I'm just continue to mix lighter tones or different hues of my turquoise, and you can see each time I go over these areas, it's a little bit lighter if I added a little bit more pearl white to it. So this is just helping to bring in more light into these areas, and all the underneath layers are still shining through. This particular white accent line that I drew in was a little bit too thick for me, so rinsing out really well, taking most of the water off, and because this paint is still wet but the underneath layers are dry, I'm able to refine this little zone of highlight until I'm happy with it. You'll remember one of the photographs I shared earlier into our WhatsApp group was a photograph of this hummingbird where the sunlight was behind the wings, and you can see it literally looks like ice clouds that reflect the light, and you see all the rainbow colors in the wings. So in a way I'm trying to mimic that light as it's coming through the wings. So you can see this final stage of the painting is really about fine details. We're not changing anything major now in the composition or placement. That has all gone before. But now is the time to make every brush stroke shine. Again, I'm adding a little bit more lighter metallic color to the head, and all these layers of color is just glimmering through. It is so exciting to see on my canvas. Again, I'm going in with some cad red and a little bit of magenta. This is almost creating an optical illusion because magenta and turquoise are opposite colors to the spectrum. Just like red and green, it's the same color family. So by placing these two colors next to each other, it really amps up the chroma, the vibrancy of the hue, and there's even more contrast. So contrast is not just black and white. If you use opposite colors on the color wheel, that is also contrast. There's so many ways that you can use contrast in a way to define what you are doing. So here I dropped my brush and splattered some water, just dabbing that off and getting ready for some final. Yes, I'm gonna just place the highlight, a little dot on the eye to indicate some light reflection. I'm happy with my little hummingbird. This is so cute. I'm going to mix some of the colors that I used in my painting, and it is time to sign. Now, this is the stage in the workshop where I applaud people for their courage to try something if they haven't done it so in a while, and to own this therapeutic process that we've gone through together by signing their paintings. After this is usually where we take our group photos, a little fun boomerang, and this is also then where we reconvene with our paintings in a circle and just share what we derived from the day's offering. So I would love to hear if you guys want to pop down some comments for me, sharing what you think, your impressions, and I just want to thank you all again for sharing this beautiful day with us. Thank you so much. Bye bye for now.